The U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions is speaking, and he is addressing this tragedy. Let's take a listen.
Happening in our country, and we are once again watching the images of children terrified, streaming out of their school, hands over their heads. It's an image we don't need to continue to see. When parents once again go to sleep and fearful that their kids will not be safe even when they go to school. Parents have told me in gang-infested neighborhood that children can no longer stand on the bus stop by themselves. They take turns, parents do, of being out there every morning and afternoon. So we've got to confront the problem. There's no doubt about it. I know that each and every one of you in this room feel the same way. I know that our sheriff in Florida had trained schools, had committed his resources and effort to try to train school people and other groups on how to respond to these kind of tragedies. I bet most of you do the same thing in major cities. So we at the Department of Justice are going to make this a priority, but we know your deputies are the ones who arrive first. They respond to the danger, not knowing what they're going to see, but responding, putting their own lives at risk to save our children and without regard to their personal safety. That's something we've got to always remember. And this situation that we're seeing just cannot continue. And we will take such action as we're able to take. We've got to reverse these trends we're seeing in these shootings. Since the day I took office, in conjunction with our state and local colleagues in our sheriff's departments, we prioritized violent crime and violations of federal firearms laws. In the first quarter that I was sworn in, when I first sworn in, we sent out a directive on gun prosecutions. The first quarter I was in office, we saw a 23% increase in gun prosecutions. Virtually all of those, or a big percentage of those, came from partnering with our state and local law enforcement. So this is a big issue for us. I think effective enforcement of our gun laws, focusing on criminals and dangerous people, mentally ill people that have been, where we have the legal ability to do so, can reduce violence in our communities and improve public safety. It's not good if we've got gun laws that say criminals can't carry guns and they never get enforced. So we intend to enforce our laws, and if anything, the recent events have caused us to know we need to do even more in the future. So I've directed today, we met with this morning our Office of Legal Policy to work with our partners at Health and Human Services, the Department of Education, across this administration, to study the intersection of mental health and criminality and violence, and to identify how we can stop people before these heinous crimes occur. It's just too often the case that the perpetrators have given signals in advance. We just had a brief meeting with your top leaders before this speech, and they all agreed that every one of these cases, we've had advanced indications, and perhaps we haven't been effective enough in intervening immediately to deal with that. I suspect it appears that we've seen that again in this case. So you are experienced professionals. You and I know we cannot arrest everybody that somebody thinks is dangerous. But I think we can and we must do better. We owe it to every one of those kids crying outside their school yesterday and all those who never made it out of that school. Our hearts are hurting today, and all the law enforcement community knows that we have a challenge in front of us, and I know together we'll meet it. It's also a reminder of how important the work of law enforcement is. People sometimes denigrate or don't appreciate what you do and your deputies do till we have a tragedy, and then they're glad you're there.